Hey there, I'm Heidi Swap. Welcome to Create to Remember, and today I'm going to show you a little trick of what you can do with some alphabet stencils. Now you might have noticed that I have a whole bunch of brand new stencils that are available out on the market, and this is one of the 12 by 12 stencils, and you can see that I've already started, I've been using it a lot, and it's gotten quite messy. One of the things a lot of people ask me is, do you clean up your stencils? And when I'm using stuff that's going to dry onto my stencil and not like pass on to other projects, then I don't really worry that much about cleaning it. But when you're using inks or stuff that is going to continue to smudge, you will want to make sure that you clean it off. So most of the stuff that I've got on here is just acrylic paint, and so it's not going to move. So let me show you what we're going to make. We're going to make this fun little card that has a word or a title on it, and this same technique can be used on scrapbook pages, cards, or mini books, or whatever. Great for spelling out names. I have noticed that my little people really love to use stencils. So I'm going to show you how to use the stencils without kind of messing up on other parts of your projects. And then also, if you look really close, if I can get a little zoom here in close, you can see on here and also on this project where I've done some stamping inside the alphabets after I have done some tracing, and in some cases we can even fill them with color. So I'm going to give you some quick ideas. Now, all right, so I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to create like just a little title on a strip of paper. So I'm going to use my alphabet stencil and just a thin black marker. In this case, I'm using like a thin Sharpie. And I'm going to spell out the word joy. And in this case, because I might spray over the top of my letters, or I might add some paint or whatever, using a Sharpie or another pen that is permanent is a really good choice of pens. All right, so I'm just going to carefully trace this, and because you guys are making me nervous, I'm probably going faster than I normally would. So take your time on the tracing so that it looks nice. All right, so I've got the word joy all spelled out and ready to go. And now I'm going to pick one of my stamps. Now I have a few stamps here, and I'll just tell you, you want to look for stamps that have like a tight, small pattern. In this case, I've got like a tight zigzag, a nice little stripe. This one is kind of like an argyle. And I don't know if you'll be able to tell this, but this is like a really tight floral, and also in some cases a nice involved kind of script stamp. So think about a stamp that has a pattern that's really concentrated so that you can see what it looks like inside the stamp. All right, now is when my trick comes. We did the best that we can. I wanted to have some space in between the letters, but because when you start trying to stamp or even try to fill things with color, it's really easy to mess up and get the stamping from another opening of another letter to show up. So let me show you. This is very high tech. I have created a what I called a shield. All right, so this is just a piece of 12 by 12 paper that I have cut an opening, and really what I did was folded it in half and kind of cut a circle that was the height of my short letters, and then I have a larger one here, right here, that is for the taller letters, like the B's and the D's and that kind of thing. So in this case, I'm going to start with my J, and I'm going to have to use my piece that's a little bit taller. In most cases, this would completely cover so that I could spray or stamp and I wouldn't have spillover. I'm going to have to be careful on this side because it looks like my oval is a little bit too wide. So I'm going to take this just really simple stripe, and I'm just going to ink a small portion of it, and then I'm going to go in here and just press right into where the opening is. Now in this case, you can see that I'm using this unmounted stamp that works really great because I can kind of get with my fingers and press right down into the grooves of the stencil and get my image to stamp as close to the edge as possible. All right, now I'm going to skip over to the O, And so again, I'm going to line up my stencil with the lines that are already there. I'm going to take my shield and bring it on over here and repeat my process again. All right, so again, I'm just going to have to press a little bit more in where the indentions are. Sometimes it's not totally perfect, which is still okay. All right, so I'm putting my Y in place. And again, in this case, I might have to use my little bit larger shield. And I can stamp those lines right into the Y. Clear stamps are easier for creating repeats because I'm not taking very much time. I might be overlapping it, kind of funny, but you get the picture. All right, so here I have the image Joy, and I can go ahead now, because I have used archival ink and I've also used a Sharpie, I can take and pick one of my Color Shine colors that can go completely over the top. And I've selected some of my ColourPop paper, which this kind of apricot color looks awesome with yellow. And I'm just looking at my spray. Now this is what's going to happen every time after you're spraying a lot. Once you shake your Color Shine, you're going to want to make sure that where it sprays out of is clear. And sometimes you just have to use your fingernail to get it to clear, because if you've sprayed a lot, it will tend to dry and it will distort your spraying. All right, so I've got a paper towel handy, and I'm just spraying right onto a craft mat. But remember that this stuff cleans up really easy with Windex or other like window cleaners. So even if you're just spraying right onto your countertop, that's not going to be a problem. All right, so I'm going to spray and then just do like a quick kind of a dab. And you can see that none of the black from either the ink, my pen, or even my stamping is bleeding. And so then what I'm going to do is just take and trim this the size that I'd like it. And then I'm going to create kind of an overlapping flap here on this card. So I'm just going to staple it twice. And then this little title that goes over the top will kind of hold my card closed, but also give me the title on the inside of card when the card gets opened. So that's just kind of a fun, simple card that you can make. Now let me just show you these other examples. In this case, you can see that I have, again, you can see that really thin line of the black that goes around each of the letters. And I've used that really thin chevron kind of zigzag stamp inside. But notice how this time, instead of spraying all over my title piece, I have only added the color inside. Now what you can do is grab yourself like a little makeup sponge. And I really love these triangle makeup sponges. And if you even just take your Color Shine and spray a little bit onto your craft mat, using your shield and your alphabet stencil, you can go in and just kind of dab the color right in. That way, if you're spraying, it's not going to get all over. Now let me show you this one, for example. This one I have done a little bit of both. I have taken and done the outline of the word. Then I have actually filled it with the color. And in this case, I mixed a little bit of Color Shine with some acrylic paint so that that would create a nice resist for my Color Shine, because I knew I wanted to spray over the top. So there's more layers here and more steps. So after you trace the alphabet, fill it with color, stamp on top of it, and you're going to need to use the stencil in place for all those different things. And then you can spray on the top just like I did on this example. So I'll show you just one more example here where I haven't added any color and it looks great just as well. So that's kind of fun. And then last but not least, if you don't want to fill it in with spray, you want it to be a little bit more contained or even add some more colors, I have gone in with my Copic markers and just filled in the area where the stamp is, just to give it some fun color and some light detail. All right, so now all you have to do is get a hold of one of these awesome 12 by 12 alphabet stencils and make pretty stuff.